Would herbivore eat meat in hard condition? Some people are asking if herbivore would eat meat in a hard condition. Would herbivore eat meat in a hard condition? It's a good question. What is a herbivore and how are herbivores different? Herbivores are a type of plant that does not have the ability to manufacture its own food through photosynthesis. They obtain their nutrients from other plants or animals. Herbivores are not affected by the same pests or diseases that affect plants that produce their own food. They also have a reduced need for water and can grow in less fertile soils than plants that can produce their own food. The following are some examples of herbivore plants. Lion's mane, herbaceous. Horsetail, herbaceous. Thistle, pine. Herbivores are animals that eat mostly plants. Herbivore animals have a digestive system which is adapted to their diet. They have a short, straight gut, and the main difference is that they can only digest cellulose. What does it mean, exactly, when we say, a herbivore? The word herbivore comes from the Latin word herba, meaning grass. This term was first used by zoologists to describe the plant-eating animals that they would encounter in their scientific pursuits. Herbivores are plant-eating animals that lack teeth and a digestive system. They get their nutrients from plants through their mouth, intestines, and skin. When you think of an herbivore, you might think of something like a cow or deer. But the dictionary defines an herbivore as any animal that eats plants and not other animals. So if you look at it from this perspective, cows are not really herbivores because they also eat grass and other plants. 5 reasons why a herbivore would eat meat in hard condition. A herbivore is a plant-eating animal that does not eat meat. There are many reasons why a herbivore would eat meat in hard condition. 1. The herbivore may not be able to find enough food in their environment. 2. The herbivore may be unable to digest plant-based foods. 3. The herbivore is being hunted by predators. 4. The herbivore is following a diet that has been passed down through generations, and they are unable to change it. 5. The herbivore is trying to survive a long time without water. 3 reasons why eating carnivorous diet is possible for herbivores. 1. Carnivorous diet is not just a fad, it has been around for a long time. 2. Carnivorous diet is more sustainable than herbivorous diet. 3. Carnivorous diet is healthier for humans who are herbivores. 2 interesting facts about herbivores and their diet choice. Herbivores are animals that eat plants, whereas carnivores are animals that eat other animals. Herbivores have a diet choice of eating plants, and they make up more than 95% of the world's animal species. 1. Herbivores can digest cellulose, a complex carbohydrate compound that is not digested by most mammals. 2. The word herbivore was first coined in 1753 to describe the people who ate vegetables, fruits, nuts, and grains only. Herbivores are animals who feed on plants. They are different from carnivores in that they don't eat meat or animal flesh. Herbivores include the majority of the animal kingdom, including insects, birds, reptiles, and mammals. Herbivore diet choices are not always easy to understand because they do not have a specific set of foods that they prefer to eat like carnivores do. Some herbivore species have diets that consist of a wide variety of plant materials, while others have diets that consist mainly of one type of plant material such as grasses or leaves. Herbivore diet choice is related to their lifestyle and habitat preferences as well as their evolutionary history. Herbivores tend to live in habitats where plants are abundant, while carnivores tend to live in habitats where they can find a lot of food. Herbivores are plant-eating animals that have no teeth. They are the main source of food for other animals and also form a large proportion of Earth's biodiversity. What are the 3 conditions that a meat eater needs? A meat eater needs 3 conditions in order to eat meat. 1. A meat eater needs to have a demand for the product. 2. The demand must be greater than the supply of the product. 3. The cost of production must be less than the price of the product, or else it would not make sense for people to eat meat from that animal. The 3 conditions that a meat eater needs are: 1. The animal must be eaten within 24 hours of being killed. 2. The animal must not be diseased or have any parasites in it. 3. The animal must be properly butchered and cleaned. Should a herbivore eat meat if at hard conditions? The question is a little complicated, but the answer is yes. This is a question that has been asked many times in the past, and will likely be asked again in the future. The answer to this question is not an easy one to give, and there are many factors that need to be considered. One factor that needs to be considered is the herbivore's natural diet. For example, most herbivores eat plants and grasses, which are not meat sources. Another factor that needs to be considered is how much meat the animal eats on its own accord. If an herbivore eats meat on its own accord, then it can be said that it would not require more meat from other animals if it was given access to them. In the wild, herbivores have to find their food before they can eat it. They have to be able to smell it and detect when it's ripe. In captivity, herbivores don't have this problem. They are fed a steady diet of fresh meat, fruit, and vegetables all year round. Many herbivores can't survive in harsh environments, so they need to eat meat if they want to survive. The question is, should herbivores eat meat if at hard conditions? How to survive in the wild, and what is herbivory? Herbivory is the eating of plant materials. Herbivores are animals that feed on plants. The first herbivore was likely a small, four-legged animal that lived in the late Paleozoic era, which ate leaves from trees and shrubs. It is believed that this first herbivore evolved into a variety of carnivorous and omnivorous creatures over time. Herbivores are an important part of ecosystems because they break down plant material and make room for new plants to grow, thereby maintaining the balance between different types of life forms in an ecosystem. One type of herbivore is the bear, which is a mammal that eats mainly plants. Bears have a digestive system that can break down cellulose in plant material and extract nutrients like proteins and sugars. Some examples of herbivorous animals include giraffes, cows, horses, and chickens. In most cases, herbivores are eaten by predators. However, there are some rare cases where herbivores can be predators themselves. How to preserve meat for a herbivore to keep them healthy even without food sources. We all know that meat is a significant part of our diet. But what happens if we run out of meat? Herbivores will be forced to find new ways to get the nutrients they need without animal products. Meat is a natural source of protein and vitamins, but it also contains high levels of saturated fat and cholesterol. This is why many people are looking for alternative ways to preserve meat without the risk of spoiling it. One way is to freeze the meat in a vacuum-sealed bag with as much air removed as possible, which will keep it fresh for long periods of time. This method can also be used on other foods that need to be preserved like fruits, vegetables, and grains. If you want to preserve meat without food sources, there are a few things you will need. Vacuum sealer machine. Freezer bags. Food-grade silicone sealant. Waterproof container, optional. The herbivore must be fed with a high-quality diet that includes a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. The carnivore should be fed with meat, eggs, and dairy. The carnivore's diet should not include any grains or sugars as these are not easily digestible by the carnivore's body. Is it truly possible for a herbivore to adapt and eat meat? The answer to this question is not simple. It depends on the definition of herbivore and meat. Is it possible for a herbivore to eat meat? This question is relevant in the light of carnivores becoming herbivores and vice versa. The answer depends on how the term herbivore is defined. In general, an herbivore eats plant material that has been broken down by digestive acids in their stomachs. As such, a cow would be considered a herbivore because it can digest grasses and turn them into milk that is rich in protein. A carnivore eats meat, which means it has a different digestive system than that of an herbivore. Carnivores have stronger teeth with sharp incisors. The question of whether or not a herbivore can adapt and eat meat has been debated for centuries. In the past, it was thought that carnivorous animals were able to digest meat because they had an enzyme called carnitine in their digestive system. However, this is not the case. Carnitine is only present in some species of carnivores and not all of them. Conclusion: for would herbivore eat meat in hard condition? Yes. The herbivore would eat meat to get energy for survival in the hard condition.